The strangers, believe me when I say, loving me is loving danger. Your heart is bound to break. I walk alone in the night, beneath the pale moon, loving's for the fools. Baby, beware of my bite. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a creeping through the shadows and the corners of your mind. echo with the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a
There you go. Boomer to the rescue. Alright, guys, let's try that again. Boomer to the rescue. Alright, so, Gab, yes. Gab is it's a Twitter platform that is... Yeah, I got it. Thanks, buddy. Gab is a Twitter-like program. Twitter-like system. It's very much... Yeah, it's a duplicate to Twitter. Where it actually accepts free speech. So, for example, you can come on here and basically say anything you want. There's a good side, there's a bad side. Obviously, good side is that everybody is free to say what they want, which is great. It's lovely. The bad side is it's constantly attacked by the media, and basically you do get some people on here that are alt-right, alt-left, communists, the Nazis, stuff like that. But to be honest, I don't have much of a problem with it on here. So yeah, it's a Twitter clone, but they accept freedom of speech. So yeah, they even have dark mode. Now, all right. So we're going to talk about this probably. Alright. Alright. We'll wait for that to come up. Alright, guys. Let's record this and let's upload this. Okay, so guys, breaking news, in case you hadn't heard, Twitter has banned Nick Monroe. I might be mispronouncing his last name. He is a citizen journalist. He has covered things in the past like Pizzagate, all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, and I know a lot of people are trying to use that to attack him, sort of thing. But to be honest, look, whether you like what he does or doesn't do, like I said, that they've used for overtly defending Pizzagate conspiracy and is a part of the intellectual dark web. Someone's saying here, he will not be missed. You're missing the point, dude. You're missing the point because he's a journalist. He's a citizen journalist. That means you could be next, Mr. Moron. Mr. Useful Idiot. Which is weird because you're calling Nick Monroe that. But regardless. Obviously, Dave Rubin has come out and said Twitter support why was Nick Monroe locked out. He's an actual journalist. You should be reinstated immediately. Nick Monroe, holy shit, Pizzagate might be onto something. Pizzagate is an interesting movement that's against pedos. Attempting to suppress something like Pizzagate is bizarre. So, you know, like I say, look, at the end of the day, look, I think there is something to Pizzagate. I don't think it is the shop that everybody is going through and trying to claim. Yeah, the dark mode is cooler. It's not like that shop that everybody tried to that everybody jumped on, sort of thing, with like secret bunkers and stuff like that. I think that was a lot of crap. I think that was misinformation to discredit the movement. Because people were wondering why Obama was spending so much money on hot dogs and pizza, for example. Which, as you know, are code words for the FBI. But like I say, yeah, at the end of the day, they have banned him. They have suspended him. They've suspended him for evading permanent suspension. Which is a little weird, because if you're evading a permanent suspension, you had to be suspended in the first place, right? So why was he suspended in the first place? But anyway, independent journalist Nick Monroe has been suspended from Twitter, with the social media website citing ban evasion as the reason for his suspension. On May 28th, Monroe announced via his Gab account that his Twitter account had been suspended and provided a screenshot of the email sent to him by the website's moderating team, citing their reason behind the suspension. Now, it says here, violating rules against permanent suspension. Monroe is an independent journalist who runs the gauntlet of newsworthy topics, informing audiences and tracking and development stories, such as recent European elections, the recent assault on Arnold Schwarzenegger, the role politics has played in the deplatforming of users from Patreon. Monroe was even awarded a second place Kensel Award in 2016 for excellence in the news reporting by Society of Professional Journalists for his coverage of the SWAT voice actor strike. Prior to his ban, Monroe's most chronologically recent thread was live commentary of his first viewing of the anime series Joe's Bizarre Adventures, but more recent political threads focus on the recent creation and spread of fake quote attributed to Trump by political scientist Ian Brenner. Monroe's coverage of the controversial topic has led to some to speculate that he was suspended for political or censorious reasons, but as of writing, no evidence has been presented to support these conclusions. While Monroe claims to have no concurrent active accounts at the time he was operating his Twitter account, Twitter suspension evasion claimed may be related to a previous Twitter account. Press fart to continue, which Monroe admitted was banned in 2014 due to the swirl of political and outrage surrounding the Gamergate movement. So, what questions do you all have about my old Twitter account? Banned nearly 5 years ago. I made the account when I was 17. I was a kid. I was doing a write-up and wanted to make sure I made it worthwhile. The Gamergate feed that had 7,000 to 8,000 followers by the end. In the wake of his suspension, Munro has given an interview to Ian Miles Chong at Human Events discussing the suspension, admitting to operating a former Gamergate centric writing Twitter account and thanking his audiences, stating that even if my account is gone forever, there's no way for me to return. I want to take the time to thank everybody who has accepted me 3.5-year long apology. Although this Twitter account has been suspended, expensive archives of his previous content can still be accessed as an alternative to Twitter. Munro has since taken to utilize his Gab account to continue his work and communicate with his followers. What do you make of Twitter suspending Nick Munro? Alright. Look, at the end of the day, I don't think the reason for them banning him is... I think there's more to it than what they're claiming, okay? They're claiming citing ban evasion. Okay, if that's the case, why didn't you ban him 3 or 5 years ago? 3.5 years ago, whatever it was. Why did it have to be now? And that's where I sort of like, okay, you let him on the platform for 3.5 years, or you knew he was on the platform for 3.5 years. But now, only now, you've banned him? Seems a little suspicious. Like, yeah. You think they would have banned him a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 3 years ago even. But no, they had to ban him. Literally. They banned him, what? Yeah, 2-3 days ago. A day ago. Yeah, a day ago now. I think this all went down about 6-12 hours ago. So, Nick Munro... Oops, I'm not following him. Well, I'm not following you, Nick. Alright, so, on Gab... Well, he's been very active on Gab. He's also been very active even an hour ago. Probably should have got him on the show. Might have a chat to him. So, here it is. Excuse the non-dark mode because, well, I have to log in and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, presumably option to appeal. I hope they show some mercy. Nick didn't attempt to reinvent himself. He really did the probably in my favour tweet of the day. He also broke the synagogue shooter's identity and Christchurch shooter's intentions before the media did. He's broken a lot of big stories. He's broken a lot. So, yeah. If you want my old tweets, here's an archive of them. It was a Gamergate feed that had over 7,000, 8,000 followers by the end. Like I say, if it was just this Gamergate account, this fart to continue, whatever it was, why didn't they ban him earlier? It's like they're wanting an excuse. They're like, okay, he's causing too many problems, too much of a wave. What have we got? What can we get him on? Can we get him on this? Can we get him on that? Okay, he's done this. All right, ban him on that and say it's that. Just give me some reason to ban him. It seems like that's what they've basically done. Now, obviously, the big problem that obviously a lot of mainstream media journalists are missing is at the end of the day, and I'll bring this up for no, sorry, not that. I'll bring it up. Obviously, Faith Goldie, I imagine Tim Cast is talking about it. But like, to give you an example like this, for example, this is what infuriates me. Is people like this that do not get it. So apparently they banned Nick Monroe. He was doing good investigative journalist. They banned him for supposedly using multiple accounts to voice suspension, but I don't know if that's true, right? That's good. That's, yeah, someone who's sticking up for him, blah, blah, blah. But then you get morons like this guy, for example. Oh, that's not that. Oh, he just deleted it. I'll be frigging surprised. Someone went through and just deleted a tweet because they're probably getting ingratiated. Let me see if it comes up. Yeah, he just deleted it. Imagine my shock. Alright, so Faith Goldie has talked about it. Ian Miles Chong has talked about it. He said that this ban is more than an issue of censorship. His complications of research has acted as a snapshot of the political zeitgeist at any given point in time, reflecting both the atmosphere and the mood surrounding each news event. It's the stuff that documentaries and now is lost. So, a lot of people are calling it out for it. A lot of people are saying it's a lot of crap. So, yeah. Twitchy team has also retweeted out saying that Twitter has crossed the line. Self-motivated investigative journo Nick Monroe suspended from Twitter. People are asking Joe Rogan to actually go through and have him on the show. Which would probably happen actually now. It's the Streisand effect. It's really weird that they try and censor people. But at the end of the day, all they do is they end up making them more popular. And more people are going to go over to Gab now. Because Nick Monroe is over there. So, you know, thanks, I suppose. Making Gab more popular. Like I say, he is very active on Gab, guys. I will post, that's the link to his Gab account. If you have Gab, please feel free to go and give him a follow. Hey, DLP, how are you, buddy? Not much. We're just talking about the censorship and banning of Nick Monroe from Twitter. But yeah, I don't know, guys. Look, to me, it stinks. To me, I think it's political. I think he's uncovered something they didn't want him to see, or they don't want the world to know about. So they're banning him off Twitter to get rid of him, because at the end of the day, yeah, get rid of him before he makes too much more waves. Apparently his archive has been taken down. Oh, it's not working. Maybe it was the wrong link. I don't know, guys. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on Nick Monroe band? Do you think that it is, for example, political tampering? Do you think at the end of the day that they're going through and it was warranted? Or do you think that this is them getting rid of him because he's a citizen journalist and he's been breaking too many stories? Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, so let's jump on to the next thing. Okay, so House fails to pass disaster bill after second GOP lawmaker objects. For the second time in less than a week, the House on Tuesday failed to pass the Senate-passed $19 billion disaster aid bill after a lone Republican objected to the measure. Oh, I know why. For the second time in less than a week, the House on Tuesday failed to pass the Senate-approved $19 billion bill, providing disaster relief funding to parts of the United States hit by hurricanes, floods, earthquakes, wildfires, after a Republican lawmaker objected. Representative Thomas Mincy, who is a Republican from KY, I don't know what that is, objected to a request to pass the measure by unanimous consent during a pro forma session. If the bill had passed, it would have gone straight to President Donald Trump's desk asking for his signature. Most lawmakers are back home in their district this week for the long weekend memorial renaissance. The Speaker of the House should have called for a vote on this bill before sending every member of Congress on recess for 10 days, I object, Missy said on the floor. House Majority Leader Senator Steny Hoyer told reporters afterwards that the chamber will again attempt to pass it by unanimous consent Thursday. If it's blocked again, the House would be poised to pass the bill when lawmakers return for week of the 3rd of June. House Republicans need to immediately end this shameful sabotage and allow the House to pass the bill that the bipartisan Senate has finally agreed to. The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, the Democrat from California, said in a statement, how many more communities need to suffer before Republicans end their political games? Senator David Perdue, a Republican from GA, I don't know what that is, slammed Massey's move Tuesday on Twitter, calling an example of politician putting their own self-interest ahead of the nation's interest. On Friday, Representative Chip Roy from Republic for Texas objected during a similar vote, saying the bill didn't address the humanitarian crisis at the US-Mexico border, and that was not paid for. And that's border, and that it was not paid for. Okay. Our nation is strong enough and compassionate enough to have a response and financially repulsive approach to help people who are hurting in the wake of natural disasters, he said. The Senate bill passed last Thursday in a 85-8 vote after the deal was struck among negotiators. Trump signed off on the pre-measures of the agreement Thursday afternoon, which excludes $4.5 billion in border funding the White House and the Republicans kept demanding. The bill would provide about $900 million to Puerto Rico, which was ravaged by Hurricane Maria in 2017. That money would go towards the Nutrient Assistance and Community Development Block Grant, both of which are key Democratic priorities. So that's interesting. Funding for Puerto Rico has long been a sticking point in negotiations because Trump was opposed to giving the territory more aid. In April, he falsely claimed on Twitter that Puerto Rico had got $91 billion from the hurricane, when the federal government had only allocated $40 billion for the island recovery, and most of that hasn't arrived yet. The $91 billion, I think, was actually the damage bill. I think he got that mixed up. Mixed up or deliberate, whatever you may think. This is a bit of... Okay, so I can see why the GOP doesn't want to pass it. They want their money for the border funding, right? And at the end of the day, they're not getting it. So they're getting pissed off. And they're like, where's the money for the border funding? And the Democrats seem happy to give money to everybody else except for the border wall. And the GOP is doing what they can to sort of say, well, hey, no, we want the wall money, right? It's also partly Democrats' fault too, because they keep trying to pass it unanimously, because at the end of the day, everybody's on holidays. When everybody comes back on the 1st or 4th of June, whatever it may be, they can then pass it, and it doesn't need to be unanimous. The only reason they're trying to go for a unanimous decision right now is because they're trying to pass it through while everybody is on holidays. That to me is a little bit of a red flag. I'll be like, okay, why are you trying to rush it through? Why does it have to be rushed through now? Why is it that when everybody is on holidays, you're trying to pass a unanimous decision? That to me is a little weird. To be honest, I think they should wait. So it's literally a few days. It's a week at the most. Right? Half a week, just under a week. Look, I know it seems like a long time for the people who are wanting aid and everything like that. But when it comes to politics, it's not really that long. And if they waited that week, they wouldn't have to worry about then getting a unanimous decision. So, I don't know. Maybe just wait. Maybe wait so that everybody can have a look at the bill before they're having to worry about passing it or not. I don't know. I just get worried when the Democrats try and do sneaky stuff like this. A little thing in my brain starts to go, why are you trying to pass it when everybody's on holidays? But anyway, Missouri last abortion clinic says it may lose its license this week. St. Louis, Missouri, the last remaining abortion clinic in Missouri, says it's expected to shut down this week, effectively ending legal abortion in the state. In a statement Tuesday, Planned Parenthood said Missouri's health department is refusing to renew its annual license to provide abortion in the state. If the license is not renewed by the 31st of May, Missouri would become the first state without a functioning abortion clinic since 1973, when Roe v. Wade was decided. Planned Parenthood filed a lawsuit requesting a restraining order against the state, hoping to restore the license and avoid service disruption. A circuit court judge will hear the arraignment on Wednesday. So Planned Parenthood would still be able to provide non-abortion health services for women in Missouri. Planned Parenthood said it plans to sue the state in order to try and keep serving Missouri women. Seems like the abortions is the vast majority of the amount of money they make, doesn't it? This is not a drill, this is not a warning, this is real public health crisis, said Dr. Lenan Wan, President and CEO of Planned Parenthood Federation of America. Lisa Cox, a spokesperson for the Missouri Department of Health Senior Services, told CB News on Tuesday morning via an email that Planned Parenthood's license was under review and did not respond to additional questions. Representative for Planned Parenthood told CBS News that the upcoming deadline follows weeks of back and forth with state health officials. On May 20th, Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services notified Planned Parenthood of 3 issues that could impact the license renewal, according to documents reviewed by CBS and provided by Planned Parenthood. On May 22nd, Planned Parenthood said it would address 2 of them, adjusting the clinics provided a state-mandated counseling and adding an additional pelvic exam for abortion patients. But said the 3rd request was out of its control. According to Planned Parenthood, the health department said it was investigating deficient practices that need to interview 7 physicians who provide care at the clinic. Planned Parenthood said it could offer interviews only with 2 who are its employees. So where's the other 5? Right? They said they need to interview 7 practitioners, but Planned Parenthood's like, well, we can get you 2. No, you want to get the 7. The other 5 physicians work at the facility, residents in training and not employed by Planned Parenthood, a spokesman for the clinic said via email on Tuesday. The state has indicated that the result of those interviews could be broad view, in addition to criminal proceedings, the spokesman said. The medical residents declined to be interviewed for the state's investigation. So it sounds like there might be a little bit of a legal trouble here. And they're like, well, hey, they don't actually work for us. They're residents in training, so we're not going to allow you to go through and talk to them, even though they might have committed some sort of act or some sort of felony or some sort of malpractice or whatever it may be. You know, we're just not going to let you talk to those 5. That to me is a little, like they say, that's under actual board review. So criminal proceedings kind of sounds a little serious, doesn't it? In this letter, the Department of Health wrote that it could not complete our investigations until it interviews the physicians involved in the care provided in the potential defective practices. So that's the reason why they're not been renewed. Is because at the end of the day, they're not going through and they're not actually providing these 5 doctors who seem like they're under a little bit of an investigation right about now for possible criminal proceedings. I don't know. If I was a woman and I was like going in for an abortion, I might want to know if my doctor is under investigation for criminal procedures. Just saying, you know, that might be a sort of a little bit of an alarm bell. Now, Missouri could be the first abortion state since Roe v. Wade. Planned Parenthood failed to renew its license by the state's health department for the last remaining abortion clinic in St. Louis. It's not a drill, it's not a warning, we've already said all that. So yeah, same sort of stuff. But yeah, at the end of the day, I would say, yeah, I could sort of see why Missouri is rejecting this application until they get to talk to those doctors. There's 5 of them, and they want to know them for possible criminal procedures. Like, holy shit, maybe you should get the doctors to talk to the investigators. Just saying. If I go into the hospital, for example, touch wood I don't, but if I go into hospital, for example, I would want to know if my doctor is under investigation for criminal procedures. But, you know, that's me, I suppose. But anyway. Alright. Alright, so let's go through and talk about some celebrity news. So, Game of Thrones star Kit Harington has checked into a wellness centre, or what we like to call rehab. Kit Harington has entered the therapy program to deal with some personal issues. Okay, interesting. EW has confirmed the New York Post report that the Game of Thrones star has entered a luxury rehab for stress and alcohol use. I'm presuming it's mostly alcohol. The actor has been in a Connecticut health retreat for nearly a month. Thought I heard someone bumming outside. Before the HBO drama's recent final, Kit has decided to utilise his break in his schedule as an opportunity to spend some time at the wellness retreat to work on some personal issues, reads a statement released by his representative. Guys, give me a sec. I keep hearing a noise outside. Give me a sec. Okay, never mind. It's some guy tearing down one of our fences. Alright, I'm back. Alright, let's keep going with this. Alright, so, a friend of the actor added that at the end of the decided decade-long show really hit Kit hard, and his wife, fellow GTO actress Rosie Lucy, has been extremely supportive. Which one's his wife? Curious. Images. Ah, okay. He's the redhead. She's one of the Starks, isn't she? Game of Thrones. At least he has good taste in women, I tell you. Oh, okay. Yeah, the wildling. Yeah. The one where he had a nude scene with. Wonder if that's how they met. Anyway, let's keep going. But yeah, at the end of the day, obviously, look, at the end of the day, he's been submitted into rehab. Well, hopefully he'll be alright. But yeah. But anyway, let's keep going. Philippines passes law requiring students to plant 10 trees if they want to graduate. The new Filipino law requires all graduate high school and college students to plant at least 10 trees in each before they can graduate. The law formalizes the tradition of planting trees upon graduates, which is also hoped to stimulate the global climate change. The proponents of the law say the legislation could result in as many as 525 billion trees planted in a generation if it was properly adhered to. So, yeah, cool. Virginia. Whoa. Whoops. Go back. Virginia, we can do better than this. 10 tons of trash left on Virginia Beach after Memorial Day event. So, inflatable rafts, trashed awnings, red cups, towels make up the mounds of garbage left on Virginia's shore following Memorial Day weekend. The Flotopia, a massive state of summer party at Kings Beach, drew hundreds of people this Sunday for a day of drinking and lounging in the Shakespeare Bay. Reports, but photos of the mess aftermath spread quickly online. A crew of only 9 people arrived Monday morning to clean up the mess, Virginia Beach Public Works spokesman Drew Langford said, removing 10 tons of garbage by about 9:15 a.m. So, it's all been cleaned up now by the looks, but yeah. Probably should do better than this, shouldn't we? So, yeah. Alright, Riley Howell, hero, the UNCC student who died after tackling gunmen, earns the Purple Heart Bronze Star. The University of North Carolina at Charlotte's student who attacked the gunman last month has posthumously been awarded 2 of the military's highest honours. Riley Howell, a 21-year-old Army ROTC cadet, earned a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star with Combat V for heroism for his actions April 30 when a gunman opened fire in his classroom. Howell and the 19-year-old Ellis Palia were killed in the attack. Howell's family were presented with the honours by the police department on behalf of Thomas Morano, the president of the Purple Heart Society. Morano personally spoke to Howell's family to tell them that believed the son was a hero. The Purple Heart is awarded to those in the U.S. Armed Forces who are injured or killed in a battle. Bronze Star is given to those exhibit heroic and meritorious achievement or service. Charlotte McKimby, police chief Keir Putney, said after the shooting that Howell did exactly what we train people to do. You're either going to run, hide, and shield, or you're going to take the fight to the assailant, the police chief said. Having no place to run and hide, he did the last. So, very brave young man, who obviously gave the ultimate sacrifice. But, that said, also probably saved lives as well. So, good on him. Alright. Comey! There was no collusion, there was no treason, those are lies, those are dumb lies at that. Let's play this.
Welcome back. The former FBI Director James Comey has just penned yet another new op-ed for the Washington Post, this one responding to President Trump's unfounded claims regarding the investigation into his campaign ties to Russia. In the op-ed entitled, quote, "No treason, no coup, just lies and dumb lies at that," Comey writes in part, quote, "Go ahead, investigate the investigators if you must. When those investigations are over, they will find the work was done appropriately and focused only on discerning the truth of very serious allegations. There was no corruption, there was no treason, there was no attempted coup, those are lies and dumb lies at that." There were just good people trying to figure out what was true under unprecedented circumstances.
All right. So this is obviously dealing with the Steele dossier, the Pfizer warrant, everything like that. Obviously, Comey's going to say
Greatest
that
privilege of my life.
because
To serve it.
because at the end of the day, he's directly responsible or directly tied up in this. I would not expect him to say anything else than that. So at the end of the day, but yeah, I think Trump should go through and should investigate this. I think that this is absolutely disgusting that the FBI would go through and use fake evidence that they knew was paid for by the Clinton campaign to go through and to spy on a sitting president or a president contender. So yeah, I think it does need to be investigated. Asha Bashaha sends 150,000 cans of drinking water to flood-devastated communities in Oklahoma and Missouri. Ahersh Bash is sending clean canned drinking water to residents of Oklahoma and Missouri amid severe storms of floods throughout the Midwest. He is delivering truckloads of more than 150,000 cans of emergency drinking water to support local communities in Missouri and Oklahoma impacted by the devastating flood, the company confirmed in a press release issued Monday. The water is canned at Akra's Brewery in Charlottesville, Cartersville, GA. Per the press release, the Cartersville Brewery is one of two facilities along with the Ahern Bush Brewery in Fort Collins, Colorado, that pauses beer production to produce cans of water at periodic intervals throughout the year. For 30 years, we've worked with the American Red Cross to provide emergency drinking water to our neighbors during times of need, said Bill Barry, which is a good thing. Good on him. So, yeah. Americans increasingly view Trump as presidential. It's not going to be for the narrative, is it? Americans increasingly believe that Donald Trump has the personality and leadership qualities a president should have, according to a poll released on Tuesday. A Gallup poll released Tuesday found that 40% of Americans believe that President Trump has the right personality and leadership qualities as a president should have, which serves as a 7-point gain from 2 years ago at the beginning of his administration, where only a third, 33% of Americans believed that Trump had the right personality and qualities to be president. America's belief in Trump's leadership abilities has risen across the political spectrum. 81% of Republicans believe that Trump has the right personality and quality to be president, which accounts for a 7-point gain from 2017. 31% of independents approve of Trump's personality, of leadership abilities, and 13% of Democrats approve. Trump derangement syndrome. Although the Americans increasingly approve Trump's character and more citizens approve of Trump on the issues and his character, 47% of Americans approve of Trump on issues that matter most to Americans surveilled in the Gallup poll, while 53% disapprove of Trump's handling of the issues that matter to the average American. Gallup's analysis suggests that Trump should campaign on these issues rather than his character, while Democrats would enhance their chances of beating Trump if they were to nominate a candidate who Americans view as having a better character than the president. But unfortunately, their policies suck. That's something that he did not do in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was a Democrat nominee. She, like Trump, was widely thought to be dishonest and untrustworthy, thus the negging one of Trump's obvious weaknesses and making character far less factor in voters' decision-making process. Democrats must also be careful not to nominate a candidate who is perceived as out of the mainstream on issues, Gallup conducted. Doing so would evaluate issues as voting factors to work on Trump's advantage. If more voters say they agree with Trump than the Democrat candidate on most important issues. So Gallup surveyed 1,204 adults between April 17 and April 30th, and a margin of error of 4%. So it's quite a big poll. Quite a big selection. Missouri State professor uses exam to blast Chick-fil-A for promoting American values. So I'm going to record this. Missouri State prosecutor uses exam to blast Chick-fil-A for promoting American values. A philosophical professor at Missouri State University was caught injecting his progressive politics into his business ethics exam questions by basing an exam question on criticism of Chick-fil-A for a so-called commitment to American traditional values. According to a report by Campus Reform, Missouri State University philosopher Michael Clifford is injecting his personal leftist politics into exams that he writes for his business ethics course. One of the questions, Clifford blasts fast food chain Chick-fil-A for its commitment to American values. For a period in the 1990s, the Cracker Barrel Old Country Store, a restaurant and gift shop chain in the Southeast, adopted a policy of firing homosexual employees and refusing to hire homosexuals. The company based this policy on its so-called commitment to traditional American values. More recently, companies like Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby have adopted similar policies. 50 years after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, there remain great imbalances regarding jobs, pay, and opportunity for women and minorities. What positive measures might we adopt to reduce those imbalances? This is the thing, right? They want government oversight onto businesses. That's what this is basically saying. That at the end of the day, big corporations have to be monitored by bigger governments. Frickin' Democrats wanting more big government, I swear. In other questions on this exam, Clifford mentions progressive talking points such as the benefit of diversity in the workforce and affirmative action. Campus Reform reveals that Clifford has a habit of espousing similar views on his Facebook page. In 2017, after the Las Vegas massacre, Clifford called for gun control. There are over 30,000 people killed by guns in this country every year. Clifford posts on 2017. That's 2 Las Vegas massacres every day. If you don't support sensible gun legislation at this point, then you're an accomplice. There is blood on your hands. Okay, but that 30,000, I believe, is also including suicides and whatnot, right? The professor having political opinions isn't necessarily a problem. However, students claim that Clifford has given students poor grades for disagreeing with his progressive perspectives. If you don't agree with his opinion, then Professor Clifford will only give you half a credit on assignments. One anonymous student claimed, "I wish I had known beforehand his views so I could write my essay response tailored to him." Stay tuned to Bright Right News for an update on the story. And I think that's absolutely disgusting that students are having to go through and to change their essays to go through and to suit or to match a professor's point of view. So, yeah. But I don't know. Let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Do you think this professor's right? Do you think this professor's wrong? Do you think this is disgusting? Let me know. Alright. Troops wear make aircrew great again patch triggers outrage from the left. So, massive outrage on the left ensued after photos emerged of United States sailors aboard the USS Wasp wearing Make Aircrew Great Again patches with President Trump's likeness on them. The images were first reported by the White House reporters traveling with the president on this trip to Japan, where he stopped at a U.S. military base in Yokosuka, might be mispronouncing. After the photo surfaced online, the leftist commentators and pundits began calling for the aircrew to be punished, claiming they had violated the Uniform Code of Military Justice for engaging in political activism while in uniform. One man who calls himself a liberal provocateur tried to alert their commander. Anyway. He had also called them wearing patches fascism and asked if they had armbands too. Oh my god, you're a moron. Another leftist dragged up photos to confirm whether the patches were actually real and found they'd been worn since last September 2017. So they've been there quite a while. One professor worried that military was not loyal to civilian control and the Constitution was now part of the president's personal cult. Leftists were seemingly outraged when Trump visited the US base in Iraq last year for Christmas. Several troops had Make America Great Again hats, which drew claims that they had violated the UMCJ again. Some speculate that Trump's staff had brought the hats with them and distributed them, which was not true, as far as I know. The US Air Force later said the airmen were not in violation of the UCMJ. There is no rule against airmen bringing personal items to be signed by the president, the US Air Forces Europe said in a statement. There have been other shows of support for Trump from the military that have not garnered so much attention. In January, Trump was greeted by the standing ovation of the Pentagon and the attendees waved mega hats. One source said the attendee was a female in military uniform. So, I don't know. Look, to be honest, I think they're just badges. I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if it's Trump. I wouldn't care if it was Obama. It's just a badge. It's just a little bit of trolling, a little bit of humor. God forbid the left want to ban humor. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below regarding this. Do you think this is a big thing? Do you think this is a small thing? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, so police. 80 California high school students attack officers, cause a lockdown. Bergkrist High School in Stockholm, California was placed on lockdown last week after an estimated 80 students attacked police officers who arrived on campus to detain one student for fighting with school staff. So, Stockholm police estimated that about 80 Bear Creek High School students were involved in the physical altercation with the police officer on Friday morning, as the officers were detaining one student for fighting with the high school staff, according to the Stockholm Record. Video footage captured the chaotic brawl, which shows scores of students surrounding the officer on what appears to be an attempt to stop him from detaining the student. A moment later, one student in the crowd can be seen throwing a garbage can at the officer while others jeered and shouted. Let's play this video. So there you can see the police officers are there. So yeah, it's kind of disgusting, really. Stocking police arrived at the high school on Friday morning to detain one student who had been reported for fighting with school staff, but when the students resisted arrest, it spurred around 80 other students to engage in physical struggle with the officers and school staff, according to police. During this detention, officers were struck by several students with garbage cans and was thrown at officer and school staff. The incident resulted in Lodi unidentified school district placing the school on lockdown. I don't know what's going on with these kids, said concerned parents at Fox 40 News. I don't know, even with the authority there, they're still being too much. It's scary, it's dangerous. When you go to school, you're supposed to respect the authority. That's trying to keep you safe while you're on campus, added former Bear Creek High School student Kira Ekins. Stockholm police did note, however, that no officers, students or staff members were injured during the altercation, adding that the student who had been initially detained was cited for resisting arrest. It remains unclear whether the other students involved will be charged. So, Kind of disgusting, really. Like they say, you go to school, you're supposed to respect authority. Yeah. So, but yeah, let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, Christopher Steele. Let's deal with Christopher Steele. Christopher Steele refuses to cooperate with DOJ investigation. Christopher Steele, a former British intel agent who compiled the hoax dossier alleging ties between President Trump and Russia, refused to cooperate with the Department of Justice investigation in the origins of Obama administration spying on then-candidate Trump's 2016 presidential campaign, according to Reuters. A Reuters source close to Steele's private investigation outfit, OBS Business Intelligence, said the ex-spy had chose not to answer questions from the Connecticut's U.S. Attorney John Durham, who was recently appointed by Attorney General William Barr to examine the probe's origins. Reports are still unwilling to cooperate with the Durham comes days after President Trump gave Barr authority to declassify intelligence material related to the probe and order several law enforcement agencies, including the CIA and FBI, to cooperate with the U.S. Attorney's review. In 2016, Steele was hired by the opposition research firm Fusion GPS, tasked by attorneys for Democrat National Committee and Hillary Clinton's president campaign to dig up dirt on President Trump's Steele dossier. Was partly used by the FBI to obtain Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA warrant, to surveil members of the Trump campaign, namely one-time Trump campaign foreign policy advisor Carter Page. FBI officials did not disclose explicitly to the FISA court that the dossier was paid for by the DNC or for the Clinton campaign. However, the Bureau did include the document that was produced as opposition research. In a recent interview with Fox News Channel, Barr specifically and his department examined if government officials abused their power and put their thumb on the scale at the beginning of the FBI's counterintelligence investigation in the Trump campaign. I've been trying to get answers to that question. I found a lot of the answers have been inadequate. Some of the explanations I've gotten don't hang together. In sense, I have more questions today than when I first started, the Attorney General told anchor Bill Herman. While Steele has ruled out cooperating with Durham's review, the sources told Reuters that the former spook may still assist the Justice Department in other investigation into the FBI's handling of the two or more high-profile probes in recent years. The source close to Steele's company said Steele would not cooperate with Durham's probe, but might cooperate with a parallel inquiry by the Justice Department Inspector General in how the U.S. law enforcement agencies handled pre-election investigation in both Trump and Clinton, according to Reuters. Meanwhile, a dispute has erupted over whether fired FBI Director James Comey or then CIA Director John Brennan pushed for Steele's dossier to be included with the Intelligence Committee assessment on Russia interference. In recent interviews with Fox News Channel, former House Oversight Committee Chairman Trey Gowdy suggested whoever is looking into this, tell them to look into emails between Comey and Brennan for December 2016. However, in a statement to Fox News, its unnamed former CIA official fingered the former FBI chief as the culprit. Former Director Brennan, along with the former Director of National Intelligence James Clappy, are the ones who opposed James Comey recommendations on the Steele dossier be included in the intelligence report, the official told the news outlet. A spokesman for Brennan declined to comment on the Reuters report. So, interesting stuff. And like I say, obviously talking about what we had earlier, where was it? What was the earlier report? No, it's not that one. There was an earlier report where we talked about it looks like it's gone. It looks like the news article's been deleted. Yeah. Anyway, there was an earlier report where Comey claims that there was no treason and whatnot. So, yeah, kind of interesting, those two. Personally, I fully support the investigation. I think it's completely insane that a presidential candidate would be spied upon, especially using fake information, and I think they need to get to the bottom of this. But let's know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, oh boy. Taylor Swift, really. Taylor Swift reveals new music has political undertones. Taylor, just stay apolitical. It's a lot safer for your career. Taylor Swift revealed there are political undertones in her upcoming album. The Reputation singer opened up about the kinds of music her fans should expect on her 7th album during an interview with German outlet RTL, published Friday. I'm definitely thinking there are political undertones in the music I made, Swift reportedly said. I'm not planning to stop encouraging young people to vote and try to get them to talk about what's going on in our country. I think that's one of the most important things I could do. Swift's apparent start with political activism began during the 2018 midterms elections. She shared a post on her Instagram supporting Democrat Tennessee candidates and encouraged young people to register to vote. She wrote, "In the past, I've been reluctant to publicly voice my opinions, but due to several events in my life and the world in the past 2 years, I feel very different about that now," she said at the time. "I've always had and always will cast my vote based on which candidate will protect and fight for the human rights I believe we all deserve in this country." The singer's political activism has also included donations, as previously supported. Swift recently made a $113,000 donation to Tennessee Equality Project, a group focused on LGBT rights. "I'm so inspired by the work you do, significant in organizing the recent petition of Tennessee faith leaders standing up against the slate of hate in our state legislature," Swift wrote in a note with donations. I think this is a big mistake for her. I think she really should just stick to doing the music. But anyway. Pop megastar Taylor Swift reveals in a recent interview that she has no plans to give up political activism mere months after her failed effort to help a former elected Tennessee Governor Phil Brennan. So, yeah. I don't know, Swift. Maybe want to just stick to singing, darling. Might be safer for your career. But let us know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. New York is changing the laws to go after Trump. You can't be tried twice for the same offense. The concept of being free from double jeopardy is right that has been recognized in law for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks, Roman, and Jewish legal system incorporated the principle of double jeopardy into their judicial codes. So fundamental has the right has been viewed that's survived even the ravages upon the rule of law during the Dark Ages. The right of a person to be free from being twice put into jeopardy of life or limb found its way in the core of our Bill of Rights. Now the latest example of liberal statement government placing its hand a hatred of President Donald Trump is a long-standing legal tradition. The New York General Assembly has decided to weaken their protection against double jeopardy, therefore to enjoy those before in the border. In our fundamental system, government is shedding between the federal and the severe state power governments, which is the Constitution. I think this is them going through and turning around saying that they weren't going to go after them for the state, but they were going to go after people from the government, from federal Look, obviously, I think double jeopardy should stay in place and should stay as it is. Frez Grill's apology for video that includes Alexandria Cortez among enemies of freedom. A minor league Fresno Grizzly felt the need to apologize to New York Representative Alexandria Cortez for some misleading and offensive edits in a Memorial Day tribute video that played at the team's stadium. The Grizzlies said the video, meant to be a moving tribute to the armed forces, was played on the scoreboard between games of doubleheader on Memorial Day, but just after the voice of Ronald Reagan speaks about enemies of freedom, the face of Alexandria Cortez appeared between the images of North Korea dictator Ang Jung and brutal Caribbean Fidel Castro. Oof. The team apologized for appearing to label Alexandria Cortez as enemy to the freedom and claimed the video made a statement that was not in our intent and clearly not opinion. The team also apologized to veterans for the undue distraction on such a solemn day. They actually have the video here, so let's see it. It goes for 3 minutes, but...
If we look to the answer as to why for so many years we achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth, it was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man to a greater extent than has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here than in any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we have never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time when there are no heroes, they just don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid for our freedom. Each one of those markers is a monument to the kind of hero I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Belleau Wood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, and halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and in 100 rice paddies and jungles of a place called Vietnam. Under one such marker lies a young man, Martin Treptow, who left his job in a small-town barber shop in 1917 to go to France with the famed Rainbow Division. There on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told that on his body was found a diary. On the flyleaf, under the heading, My Pledge, he had written these words: America must win this war. Therefore I will work, I will save, I will sacrifice, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully and do my utmost as if the issue of the whole struggle depended on me alone. We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It is a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It is a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it now or ever. We are Americans.
I don't know. I think she deserved to be right there. What do you guys reckon? I like the fact they put Antifa in there. That's kind of cool. It's kind of good video, actually. I like that video. So, full props to them for doing it. Look, I don't think she should be there, jokingly. But, you know, she is far left. But I don't know, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Alright, Joe Biden's 50 year of flip-flops. Former Vice President Joe Biden faces opposite opponent, possibly even more formidable than President Trump himself. In half a century in Washington, spanning 36 years of the Senate and 8 Obama administrations, Biden has flip-flopped on most major issues. He's flip-flopped on abortion, Iraq war, immigration, women, degradation, guns, drugs, gay marriage, coal, entitlement and reinforcement, trade. Oh boy. Look, obviously at the end of the day, people's opinions will change, but I don't think they're going to change that much. God bless Reagan. Yeah, true. Very good speech, actually. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'm not surprised he's flip-flopped on a few things, but all of those are like, ooh. That's going to hurt. It really is. And Val Jones, last story for the day, guys. Val Jones praises Trump over criminal justice reform. CNN commenter Val Jones praised Donald Trump over his initiatives on criminal justice reform after Trump slammed former Vice President Joe Biden's past positions on the issue. Jones views the debate over criminal justice reform as a progress for an issue that has championed in the past. This is historic, Jones said. We now have a president of the United States, a Democrat front-runner, competing who can be the best on criminal justice reform. Jones worked with Trump White House to pass the First Step Act last year, which allows nonviolent criminals to get out of prisons earlier by way of increased and time credits. We've got to give Trump credit where credit is due, Jones said. He did fight hard to pass that bill, and he made it possible for other Republicans to also be in the pro-criminal justice camp. Jones also said that Biden will have to answer for his previous thoughts on crime stance and the campaign trail, such as his support for the 1994 criminal bill, which Jones claims accelerated mass incarceration in the United States. I want to see their response to this. This is going to be interesting.
Let's just take a step back. This is historic. We now have the President of the United States and the Democratic frontrunner competing on who can be the best on criminal justice reform. For my entire adult life, the parties have been racing who can put the most people in prison, who can be the toughest on crime, and now you have them both arguing and debating, no, I'll be better at reform, I'll be better at reform. So as silly as some of this stuff is, I mean, obviously, Trump can't say to, Biden, well, because of your past, nobody can vote for you. You could go back and forth on that. But fundamentally, what you've got is a historic watershed that is now showing up in the presidential election. Both parties now trying to move in the direction of reform. Now, listen, if they want to go record to record, here's reality. Trump can say I was better than the Obama administration on legislation because he passed the First Step Act. But he's worse than the Obama administration on administration. In other words, the Department of Justice under Trump has actually gone backwards in a lot of ways, has not implemented the First Step Act well enough. So Trump can be strong, say, listen, I'm better than you on legislation. Biden can say I was better at you on administration. So they both have strengths, they both have weaknesses. But I am just jumping up and down because we now have both parties saying they want to do better. And that's
makes you wonder what the CNN viewers thought of this. But yeah. Apart from that, look, I don't know. Non-violent offenders, I don't know. I think if you start getting likes on offenders, they start recommitting crimes. There seems to be no accountability these days. Obviously, they're talking about non-violent offenders, sorry. Yeah, but I don't know. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section below. Apart from that, guys, that's probably going to be it for the day. That's the show. What do we get up to? Just over an hour and 20 minutes. Oh, it's not bad. All right, guys. We're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to go and find out why someone is tearing down one of my fences. Apart from that, guys, obviously the video has been helpful. Please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. And apart from that, everybody, thank you for who has came in and watched the show today. Thank everybody who is going to watch it later on demand. But yeah, guys, apart from that, I'll look forward to seeing you in the comment section below. Apart from that, Eric, Sanchar, thank you guys for being here. DP, DPL, DLP, sorry. But yeah, apart from that, guys, I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Have a great night and enjoy.